Test, test, test.
I
Did you see that Hammer Ceramics is on another podcast? He didn't advertise our podcast like he advertised this podcast.
think you did.
Bitch. I don't even know.
You can tell him that then.
I almost razzed him, but I didn't.
I need to listen to it. He's
You
very
didn't
frank in his answers, so I liked it. No
Yeah.
bleeping, and
Yeah.
I like it. I
You
like to
trying
see
to
that
climb
side
the
of Kurt. I
wall,
feel
you
like
freak?
customers don't see that as much, and I like it.
Yeah. Meow. Meow. Meow.
I'm pushing
Yeah.
this thing further away from my face.
And I'm pushing it closer.
I just project very well, I guess.
I guess. I think that I consciously am quieter just because of my environment.
Mm-hmm. There was a point where it sounded lower for a couple minutes with you on the last one that I listened to.
Yeah.
But it naturally comes back up, so I don't know if it's worth adjusting it for like a 2-minute portion.
Yeah, no. It might be the microphone too. I wonder if I messed up the microphone.
When you dropped it?
Yeah.
Do you still have the one that I have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
But Val said that there was one episode where I just went away for a hot second. Not went away, but it was really quiet,
Yeah.
And
Maybe yours is just really sensitive to it being right in front of it.
maybe that might be it. Yeah, I maybe should just change to the other microphone. I'd like to get what I'd like is once I get the van all set up is to get one of what you have and mount it to the wall or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I think that the internet that I'm gonna do might be good. This is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if in the future maybe we should just I'm concerned about the computer because I have
The power to it?
No. I have internet on my iPad. It's the data one because I predicted this in my future.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the data one, and so it would get better reception for a call via Skype, and I'm wondering if in that case we should just record it on Skype,
So it gets so you're saying it gets cellular service on the iPad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So
you're paying for cellular service?
No, not yet, but I might.
Okay. I think
Depending
you can
on
add that for Visible if you wanted to.
Oh, can you? Well, I was thinking also of doing it on my mom's or dad's because then if Visible doesn't have internet, I can choose somebody else that might,
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how it depends on where you're at, obviously. You could always use your hotspot from your phone.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If my Visible hotspot isn't as strong as if I get AT&T on that one and that reception's better, picking and choosing. So, why is my cat so fucking weird?
Mine's perfect. She's laying right here on my lap, curled up in a ball.
He's in the laundry room. He's in the laundry basket.
Nice. Dirty laundry or clean laundry?
No, it's empty. It's empty laundry.
So it's just the basket.
It's just the he tipped it over and he's sitting in it.
Oh, nice. Hey, Marvel does the same thing. She'll sit in the laundry basket all day.
I mean, yeah, why not? Boy.
Boy. All right, do we want to start soon?
Yeah.
We've already been recording on Skype.
Yeah.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
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 Ignition started.
I found a new show on Netflix. It's not new. It's not new. It's just I found a show on Netflix. It's called History 101.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's pretty good. It's it's a little biased towards the Earth, which I'm okay with, but you can, they're clearly biased.
Right.
Which
Did
Yeah.
So
Everything's
the
biased, but
things I always thought is funny is they always do the numbers in relation to like you could stack this to the moon and back 6 times, which is the height of the Empire State Building if you stacked every floppy disk up on top of each other or whatever.
yeah, I just watched that episode, or I'm in the middle of that one. It's the one about vinyls. They're like, if you stacked vinyls, uh, if oh, if the amount of recordings that are uploaded to Spotify every day, the amount of singles, if they were stacked up on top of each other as a vinyl, they would stack up the length of the um Statue of Liberty 65 times.
Yeah. They're always stacking buildings up or like doing long distances to give you perspective, but it's like, how ridiculous is the next one going to be?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Yeah. So, but it's been a fun little distraction from Star Trek for a hot second.
Well, remind me, are Star Trek 30-minute episodes or 45-minute episodes?
No, they're like 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We watched the History 101 with dinners. So when we would cook dinner, we would usually watch a
That's cool.
episode of something. So we were watching tonight we watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, but usually
Yeah.
we'd find a 20-minute show or something that we hadn't watched.
I realized when we were watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, I appreciate Curb Your Enthusiasm, but when we were watching it, I was watching it with you last week. Um, I just can't. They're so mean. Like, he's just such a fucking asshole, and I just can't. Like, it's just like, I don't know.
Is
Maybe
it
it's
like overly, or is it just the things he cares to bring up that is like in normal conversation, you would not bring this up because it comes off like you're an asshole?
well, no, it would. I don't normally say this. Like, this is not something that has come out of my mouth very often, but it is very apparent that what's his name?
Larry
David,
David.
Larry David. Larry David is a white male that has like gotten things handed to him his whole life. And like typically I'm like, it's fine. Like people like have like lots of things go on in their lives and there's a lot of things that they're not privileged to, but he is not one of those people.
And he's
Uh
picking fun at and
and
pulling
it
like caring about things that really nobody should care about.
Yeah, like it's just like why like nobody on the planet like cares about
I think
that.
that's
And
part of the absurdity of the
I
show.
agree. I agree. It's just not my type of humor, I think. I I think that I'm just not good at like the whole poking fun at the minority or the underdog, like picking at the underdog. I think that's just not my type of humor. And I realized that today. That's also why I kind of don't like Seinfeld. And it's not even anybody but like George in Seinfeld. Cuz like obviously Kramer's great. Eileen's a little bitchy,
Elaine,
whatever her name is. And
come on, Eileen.
come on, Eileen. I had a professor in college named Eileen. Eileen Fears. She was fucking terrible. Um. Anyway, how are you?
You shed tears for fears?
Yeah.
Meh. I'm doing well. I was a little I thought I was sick earlier today. I had a little
Oh.
headache for a few hours, so but I was took a nap, was resting, got some
Good.
lunch in me, so I was good after that. I took a
Is
COVID test
Rachel
negative, so I'm all good.
is Rachel feeling okay?
Oh yeah, she's good.
Okay, good. I would have felt so bad if I would gotten her sick,
I
but I
just
felt
yeah, I
like
just
we
had a
did a
little
good
headache. I
job.
think I was just I did the show yesterday and then I took a little bit to relax and then I worked in the studio after that and threw some pots
Hmm.
and I didn't even get to bed till like 1:30 or 2.
Yeah, maybe that was a mistake. That might have been a mistake.
So
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
And then yeah, so it was good. I just relaxed for like 3 or 4 hours and
Yeah.
it was fine. But yeah, I'm good. I did my restock today
Good.
and I was packing up some pots. I got quite a few orders.
Oh, nice.
So between I've been doing the Etsy cyber sale
Yeah.
thing that they were promoting me to do so they could bring attention to it. So I've been packing up a lot of orders of shot glasses and small things like that. And I think I've got like I'll probably end up with about 15 packages to take to the post office
Sweet.
tomorrow.
Love it.
And I took about 15 to the post office on Saturday. So
Dude,
it was
nice.
pretty nice.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what's happening. Getting a little studio time in, but not too much.
So tell us how much you made.
We did a show together last weekend too that we didn't mention.
Oh yeah, we should probably do that. This is just confirming
This will
my
be
rant that's coming.
a quick about last week, and then we'll go into this weekend
Yeah,
too.
this is just affirming my rant that is going to happen in about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Becca and I did two shows back to back weeks.
Yes.
They're two shows that I've done before. She's never done them.
Right. And like West Side you've done a lot.
Yeah, I've been doing West Side for about 4 years.
Right. Makes sense. And the one
Off
off
market, I've
market,
only done maybe 4 or 5 times before.
that was last week.
But
And
I've done it a few times.
yeah. And let's just set up the stage for you for everybody for last week. Last week it was 32 degrees. 35 was the high.
Mhm.
28 or 26 was the low.
The sun was peeking
And
out, but it felt 32.
it was chilly and 50% humidity. I looked and the wind was 14 miles an hour consistent with gusts up to 32 miles an hour.
What does the humidity matter in the cold? Does the humidity
Cold.
matter that much?
Oh, so much.
It does. So
So
32,
much
50% humidity.
is cold. Just think of it this way: if there's water
What
in
is it
the
in
air,
Colorado if it's like 32? What's the humidity there?
10,
Okay.
10%, maybe 0. like,
But what
like
does that mean in the cold?
so when there's no okay, think of it this way: when there's humidity, there's water in the air, and when there's water in the air and it's 32 degrees, that water gets colder, and so the air is colder. So it feels colder than it actually is.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
when there's no this is Becca's science,
I
not
was feeling like the wind. I get the wind part, but I don't get the
yeah.
humidity in the cold
This
part.
is not like pure science, this is Becca science. So
Well, I figured you could relate to Colorado because
yeah,
I'm
and in
sure you.
Colorado when there's no humidity in the air, it's just cold. Like nothing's like hitting your cheeks and being like, "Hey, I hate you." Like like when
Okay.
I was in high school, we used to go out in 10-degree weather in jeans and a sweatshirt. And if I did that
What?
here, if I did that here when it was like 50 degrees, 50% humidity, I'd die. I would
Okay.
and of course keeping in mind that I've grown and become weak, but
Okay.
still. Yeah, that's the
Very
difference.
chilly.
Very chilly. Okay,
Windy. Yeah.
very chilly. So what did you do last week?
Last week I collected a little over 1,000.
Okay, that was the 19th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and last week I collected $494.
No
um
comment.
uh
But you did
that
find out something.
wait, I collected $494, but also 60 of that was spoon rest that somebody ordered online. So,
Oh.
uh so I think I collected basically right around $400. What did I find out? That
You found out about selling certain products in the cold.
oh, I found a very important lesson is Becca cannot sell products in the cold because everybody has to touch my stuff and if it's cold, they don't want to pick it up. And if they don't pick it up, I don't sell it.
The
So,
pot, yeah, your fancy cups, pots are really soft, but people don't want to pick them up when the pots are cold and their hands are cold
and the thumb cusps, the thumbs fit really nicely, but not with gloves on. and
and earrings.
and
If people want to
earrings,
stand around and peruse earrings while it's frigid
right.
outside.
So we found that out totally fine. Um, it's good to find that out now, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, cool.
I had some repeat buyers there though.
You did.
I don't see the repeat buyer section of the reports, but
I didn't
But
know they
yeah,
had a repeat buyer
it
section.
was a good mixture of stuff. It wasn't anything that blew out of the water.
Right.
7 mugs, 7 spoon rests were the most of anything I sold.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to yesterday.
Okay, yesterday, much better weather.
Much better weather. 50 degrees, sunny, beautiful. So many people were out.
It was like light jacket weather.
Light jacket weather. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, people could actually walk around and not have to cover up so much. Okay, yesterday collected 2,900 bucks.
Holy shit. Yesterday I collected 685.
685.
Plus 60 on Venmo. So probably 7 something.
Does that include your cash sales? I feel because you were saying stuff about cash sales before.
Oh my god, I don't think I had any cash sales yesterday.
Yeah, mine was mostly all card.
Yeah. And let's set the stage, right? Ryan was up in the center of the area, I guess. I was down. We were both in extremely good spots.
I was in a prime spot.
He was in a prime spot. I was in a good spot. Like at one point the street in front of me was completely packed.
Mm-hmm. You're right by the food mostly, so
Yeah. So like it was not like not a bad spot. I just did so fucking bad and I don't know.
you had a corner too.
I had a corner too.
We both had corners, yeah.
It was not my fault. I can say that because like I had the exact same setup as Bloomington and I made $4,000 at Bloomington. Like
And there wasn't a shortage of people there.
there wasn't a shortage of people. I don't know what the fuck is wrong. I'm
Was it
like
the were there people coming up? Do you think it was the customer base? Like you
it
need a
might have
more
been.
artsier customer base, or
It might have been. I feel like a lot of middle-aged women were coming up as
mm-hmm.
opposed to like when at Bloomington I probably sold to like 30 to 40 and a lot of middle-aged women were coming up probably like 40 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like there weren't that many 40 to 60 like older women there, like older.
yeah.
It was more like middle-aged families and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like and there were some people like one lady came back 4 times. And she just like kept looking at my stuff. I'm like, just fucking buy something, and she never did. And it's not like the lack of interest. I do feel like there wasn't a lot of people walking up to my booth. I'm like, maybe I could have like put it straighter. I guess I had it angled,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it was that either. I don't know. Like nobody and like usually at a show like that, I would expect to sell a lot of thumb cups, you know?
Yeah.
And I sold like 6.
Was that the lady that tagged you?
One of them tagged me, but she didn't actually buy one yesterday. I sold 9 thumb cups, but I sold 6 medium earrings. So like,
Yeah, I was thinking the earrings would get. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, because you were right. Like you were like, oh, the earrings will probably be better at this show, and you were right. And I just don't know. Like I felt
The thing I'm
so
wondering about
just
your earrings, though, there are other. Did you walk around the other vendors?
a few.
There are other like cheaper
Yeah,
earrings
there were.
options where it's either I don't know that they buy them and sell them, or
Yeah,
if they make them and they're like cheap made. So like a
yeah,
$20 earring compared to your $35 earring.
yeah. And there was like an earring lady across the way from me, like a jewelry lady across the way from me, and she had like a line out of her little
This those are
vehicle
really
thing.
cheap, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I feel like you're competing with a. Your price is different, but you kind of have to
yeah,
explain why, I guess. But I don't know. Do you think it would be better the more you would do that, or would you just not do it again? I feel like that's one you have to. The same. A lot of the same people come back to those shows every
yeah, because
month or every few
I
months.
imagine that you've like increased. Obviously you've increased in sales every year that you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like obviously I want you to have like an amazing show. I'm not mad at you. I'm just
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like Ryan made
it's
$2,700.
not a
Like
fair comparison though.
I know, but I don't fucking care. And but
But
I was like,
it wouldn't incentivize you to like make certain things that would be more enticing for that kind of a crowd for holiday shopping.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I did think about it. I was like, maybe I should make oil bottles. And I was like, Becca, shut the fuck up. Like, you're not making oil bottles.
Yeah, I was telling her they were selling really well.
Yeah. When you sent me that text, he sent me a text and he was like, I should have brought 20 more oil bottles. I was like, God damn it.
I
Ryan's
sold
fucking killing it.
I sold 31 oil bottles,
That's insane. I think
and
you need
nine
to up the
nine
price
of
of the
those
oil
were
bottles.
carved.
That's great.
10 soup bowls, 28 spoon rests.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I had a lot of B-backs that never came back, of course. And
B-backs. Oh, you didn't do the stone thing, right?
no.
No.
Um, yeah, and I was just like super bummed. However, I will say that my neighbor was wonderful. And we talked the whole time, like a lot of the time, that nobody was coming around. And she made like sweets and lollipops and chocolate, hot chocolate bombs, which I just had one and wow, wow, wow. And and we kind of talked about it, and she was like, "Man, my great day is like 400." And she goes, "If I sold $600 worth of stuff, I would freaking cry." Because she had like, $1 suckers and stuff like that. And I was like, that's a good point. Like she definitely put it in perspective. And I was like, Becca, you're being really ungrateful. Um,
For not doing the show before, you had no expectation of what to do.
True.
I mean, did I put that expectation on you of what you were going to sell? I don't know that I told you what I thought you would
No,
sell, but
no, I would have been happy with like 1,000.
okay.
I was like, I just was short of the goal that I like. I want to make 1,000 when I go to a show,
Hmm.
especially if I spent $100 in the booth, which I think I did. Um,
Yeah.
uh, and oh my gosh, the show lady, the market, or the lady organizer was really, really nice. She came up and asked.
Crystal,
Yeah, she came up and asked how I did, and I was like, well,
she's
Ry-
great.
I was like, Ryan's killing it over there. I'm not doing the best, but it's okay. And
Oh, you told her you knew me?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she's a customer of mine. I think that's part of the reason why I get such a great spot too, because like
yeah.
we're buddy buddy.
Well, and she was like, I always try to give the Potters a corner spot, and I was like, that's nice of you. Um,
Yeah.
and and she was like, yeah, this is such a great spot, and I'm like, I know, I don't know what is going on, and because like by the end of the show, I was kind of just like twiddling my thumbs. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
wonder how the street does. The people that are facing the street, the outer
oh
street, the
yeah,
main street,
that's a good question. Yeah,
because there's
I don't
another
know.
potter over there, potter woodworker
Yeah,
that was over there, and I wonder how he did.
yeah,
Because there's nobody facing across from him. It's just a sidewalk. But I mean, so many
right,
pedestrians are coming through, and that's how they're getting to the show.
right. I know.
But I don't
I
know.
really don't think that any spot was bad. Like at that show, like
Yeah,
really,
they
truly,
spaced it out really well. And I mean, I wonder how the inside was. I feel like if anything, the inside would have been
inside would have
bad.
been bad. Yeah, for sure. Um,
I mean, there's Santa,
yeah,
photographer, people in there, so maybe, and there's bathrooms in there,
yeah.
so maybe that draws people in. But
I almost totally ate it walking up the stairs in the inside because the stairs are really tall. And
yeah,
I was like, "Ugh, this sucks." But and then I was like all bummed out. And then we pack up all of our shit, and I have to get my van into this stupid fucking street. I'm sure you had the same issue, like parallel parking in front of the booth.
mine
Must have
was
been.
fine
Oh, that's good. Um,
because I always take forever to pack up
yeah,
compared to
that's good.
everybody else around that has like a table and
Yeah.
they're out
So
of there in 20
two booths,
minutes.
two booths over from me was this like horde of old ladies, and they were selling for a good cause. But one of the ladies' husbands was a fucking like he had a fine parking spot. It was across the way, and they were like walking things to and fro. And then when I went to get my van, he pulled his fucking truck into my spot, like into where my booth was, like literally 2 feet away from my tent,
Hmm.
even
Where
though it
all
was
your
all
shit is packed up and ready to go.
right, and it's like all closed. And now I'm like, well, now I can't even get to my spot. And so I'm like cussing this guy out under my breath and like walking all my shit to the car. And then
Hmm.
and I was just like so mad. And then I drove home and I called Andrew and bitched to him. And and it's fine. Like I said, it's fine. I just need to be complaining. And then I went to Oh, I got 4 free of these hot chocolate bombs from my neighbor. I also gave her a mug that chipped.
Yeah. Is that
And,
because they go bad and stuff if she
well,
doesn't
it was
sell
her
them?
last show of the season, and she was like, "I don't know what the fuck to do with these." So,
Oh, okay.
and also her daughter
Of
had
course.
Down syndrome, and her name is Dorothy, and she was really sweet. And at the beginning of the show, I was like, "Dorothy, do you want a little fidget stone?" So I gave her a little fidget stone so she could play with it during the show. Um, and so we kind
Nice.
of, yeah. Anyway, um, so I got 4 chocolate bombs for free, which was like I was so stoked because I love hot chocolate. And then I'm driving home, and I was like, I'm gonna go to fucking Texas Roadhouse and eat my feelings.
God,
And
I fucking
so
love Texas
I
Roadhouse.
fucking love Texas
The
Roadhouse. And
butter? Do you get the butter with the rolls?
like, what? What kind of a question is that? Do I get the
Do they
butter
still
with
have
the
the
rolls?
peanuts there?
No, they don't do the peanuts anymore. They do have like packages of peanuts at the bar, but that's like
Peanuts kind of overrated,
so
anyways.
stupid. I wonder if that's because of COVID. Um, I know,
Maybe.
I know I shouldn't love Texas Roadhouse as much as I do, but it was like
It's
when I was
good.
growing up, that was like the fancy dinner for us. Like,
The
like
rolls in the honey butter or the
the
cinnamon
cinnamon
butter?
butter.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Can't beat
Right?
that.
And my traditional, like I've always ever gotten a salad. I always get a salad, and then I get the steak, and then I get some potato. And the steak, I only eat half of it, and then I take it home and cut it up and then put it in the roll with the cinnamon butter and the steak. And it's the best fucking sandwich on the planet. I don't know why the cinnamon works, but it does. And so that's like my routine, right?
Okay.
So I get there, I order a double Jack and Coke, and then this lady next to me is having like an issue, right? Like she had just rejected
Are
a
you eating
steak.
at the bar?
Yeah, I'm eating at the bar.
Okay.
So she was like 2 seats over from me. So she had just rejected a steak before I'd gotten there, and then when I got there, I think she spilt her drink or something. So like the bartender like wiped at the whole table. She seemed very high maintenance. And then 10
You
minutes
think?
in, she gets another steak, and I hear the bartender say, "This one looks really good." And she cuts the end of it. She like cuts the end of it. And she's like, "This isn't gonna work." And I was like, "What the fuck?" and like, and she looks over at me, and I'm just like trying not to like look like I'm listening to literally everything that they're saying. And and at some point, and she was not like quiet by any means. She was like, it has to have some pink in it or else I can't digest it. And I swear to God, my eyes like rolled back in my head. I was like, I've never heard of that. Never in my life have I heard of somebody not being able to digest steak.
You
If
said
it's,
that to yourself, right?
yeah, if it doesn't, if it doesn't have pink, if it's like well done, like it has to have, no,
That sounds
that's
just
not
like
how.
a health reason to say I'm picky as shit.
That's like, and she's like, I have digestive issues. Like, well, she didn't say it like that. But she was like, I have digestive issues and
I
I
mean,
can't
maybe
eat
she
the
does.
steak. So anyway, she like pushes it to the side, and she also got just like plain vegetables, like gross. And with it as the side. And after a minute, I was like, so if you're not gonna eat that, can I have it?
I wondered how you got the steak.
Oh yeah, I was like, you shouldn't throw it away. I'll take it if you're gonna throw it away. I will take it because I'll
You
eat
said
it.
that to the bartender, or you said that to her.
And her, I was like, hey, if you're not gonna eat it, I'll take it for tomorrow. She's like, yeah, yeah, take it. It's fine. So anyway, they order
I'm
another
not
steak.
paying for it. Take it.
Right, right, exactly. And the bartender was like, if you don't tell anybody, I won't. I was like, great. So we package it up, and then he takes the other plate away, and then I got my stuff, and then a third steak comes out for this lady. It is. I could tell that this one was cooked to the fucking gills. It was motherfucker was well done.
That thing was not moving anymore.
No moves. And I was like, no. And like when I got my steak out, the bartender was like, "Could you please check yours to make sure it's right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it looks fine." I got a medium rare. I like it a little more rare, but if I say rare, then it comes out cold. So, so I was like, "Yeah, this is fine." And I took it home. Anyway, she didn't like that steak either. So the manager came out and then she ended up getting a salad with chicken. And
Oh my gosh.
go.
Did you get out of there before she even left too?
I did. I did. And
Wow.
this morning I opened up the steak and I cut it open. It was a perfectly medium steak. It was beautiful as far as a medium steak goes. It had pink in the center. It was brown on the outside. It
Mhm.
was magnanimous as a steak goes. Like they cooked it perfectly. But because this motherfucking idiot only cut the very edge of the steak.
Would the bartender not say something about,
No,
"Hey,
because
what if
clearly he's
what if
not
you
very
cut it in
smart
the middle?"
either. So, because she only cut the edge of the steak, she thought it was well done when it was like literally perfection. Um, so I got a perfect steak, according to her.
And did you only eat half of your steak that you had too?
No, because I was like, "Ooh, I can have the whole thing," so I ate the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I asked for 4 rolls so I could have
I
sandwiches.
saw the rolls, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So anyway, that was my steak story. The fucking you can't fix stupid, but you can benefit from it. And I think that that's what's to be learned here.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow,
So
wow.
after all that, I felt very okay about the show. I was like,
4, I was gonna say bath bombs, but 4 hot chocolate bombs, free
and a free
steak,
steak.
and you got some rolls and butter.
Yeah. I did have to pay for more gas today, though. Next year, I'm definitely, thank God, next year I'm going to be living in my van because if I have to do 5 shows in Cincinnati, I'm using your kiln. Like, fuck this. Like, going back and forth, I am like burning through
Well,
gas,
definitely do that.
obviously. But yeah.
Jeez. Okay. And then we skipped over Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving was good. We had Thanksgiving together.
Hmm.
You came, cooked. It was delicious.
It was
Don't know
very
if
good.
that's going to be a tradition, but I agree that it should be a tradition because it was all really good.
Yeah, Rachel at the end was like, I think we should start a new tradition that Becca makes
I
Thanksgiving.
think Deech said that,
Oh,
but
is it Deej? I thought I don't know who it was, but somebody said it, and I was like, I'm down.
yeah, it was very good. Very
I had
good.
the leftovers on like the day after, and I swear to God, I ate them in 30 seconds because they were so goddamn good. And then I was like, I can't. There has to be more of this. And so I literally went to Aldi today and got all the ingredients to make green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, and stuffing, and then pulled out that chicken that your dad gave me like forever and ever ago. I'm
Oh,
gonna
we
make.
gave you a frozen chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you got to cook that. Oh, you gonna air fry that?
I don't know. I've never done it in an air
Didn't you air?
fryer.
Oh no, you did the chicken thighs in the air fryer.
Yeah,
Oh, that was so good.
I think I might just slow roast it in the oven.
That'd probably be good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole chicken.
Yeah,
So
it's a whole chicken. But it's a small chicken. So I'll have to look it up. It's thawing in my sink right now.
nice.
But
Okay,
yeah.
gonna have some interesting meals before the year's over. I'm sure clearing out the
Yeah.
freezer and fridge.
I'm pretty empty. I mean it's yeah.
I mean, you
I
had some meals last week or 2 weeks ago that you were throwing some shit together.
yeah. Yeah, I had like Mexican goulash that was good, like a Mexican casserole goulash kind of thing. Um yeah, I've got some pork in there that I need to eat up. But I don't know. I'm very like stressed right now because it's like almost December and I'm going to be gone for half of December, so I really need to start like getting into gear.
Hmm. Yeah, you got to figure out your schedule, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be interesting.
Well, thankfully after this weekend, I don't have any more shows other than at my own studio, so and I
Hmm.
have to take all my stuff in for that, so at least I can move all of my pots into the studio for a hot second so that I can get all of these tables into the van and kind of like situate everything
Yeah.
and kind of like start moving things into the van. I do kind of need to go to Colorado because I have to drop shit off. Okay. Anyway.
All right, I have a fun listener question.
Woo!
We're at 30 minutes in. Oh, by the way, I started putting those thumbnails in so people can jump to the marker if they want to.
Oh,
So
good.
I think the last 3 episodes I put that in there. So if you're listening to this, look out for that if you don't want to hear our bullshit at the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like most of you like the bullshit.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
happy
We
bullshit.
we like to think so at least. And if
All
you
right.
don't like it, we're still going to do it, so it doesn't matter.
First question comes from Glazed Fused Creations.
Yes.
We know her.
Deanna.
Deanna. Go to takeout, pizza or Chinese? And we said this Chinese could include Thai, maybe?
Well, I think that
Is it
because
Asian
yeah,
takeout?
I think because it's coming from Deanna, who I know loves Thai food, we're going to sub Chinese with Thai.
Okay.
So it's Chinese slash Thai.
Okay. Go
Um,
to takeout, pizza or Chinese slash Thai?
yeah. What say you?
I gotta go with pizza. I feel like I can do pizza anytime. Thai, I gotta be a little bit more in the mood for that.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. You?
That's so hard.
I feel like you don't
I
get you don't eat pizza. I feel like I don't see you like get takeout pizza much. Do you actually get pizza that often?
I get pizza like once a week.
Oh, really? Where do you get it from?
I I mean I used to, not anymore because I'm trying to eat out the fridge, but I usually get it from Greek's Pizzeria, which is in Indianapolis and it's real good.
Okay.
But I used to get it every Thursday.
Okay.
um yeah. So I would like in my mind I say Thai, but in reality it's pizza. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know there's Thai places around here, but I'm not going to go to them. I would much rather just take out pizza. I just love me a good garlic butter. I don't know what to say.
Hmm. See, I don't really like the garlic butter. I feel like it's too
That's
much.
because you're a heathen.
Heathen. Okay, I'll take that.
But
We
regardless,
usually
we
get
didn't even need to change it to Chinese because we both chose pizza.
well, just because I like literally never get Chinese takeout. That's why I was like, there's no question here. If you put Thai, it's at least kind of close.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know any Chinese places out here.
What if it was pizza or Chipotle?
Chipotle, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
150%
Thai wasn't
Chipotle.
a good alternative or comparable.
Well, and it also depends on your location. Like, if you asked me that question in Monroe, I probably would have said Thai because the Thai place there is delicious. And I also got pizza for free. So, like, I had it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was
You're
more exciting to get
desensitized to the
Thai.
free
Yeah,
pizza.
right.
Okay. Yeah, we
Yep.
just get like greasy pizza from Marco's.
I've heard that's really good.
It's really good. We get it all the
Yeah.
time. So
I fucking love
if you're in
pizza.
town in the future, we'll get some Marco's and usually get cheesy bread
Oh, yeah.
and I know the discount codes, so I end up getting like an extra large pizza and then cheesy bread, and the extra large pizza is like $12 or $10.
Hell yeah.
It's so cheap. I think it's
Nice.
$10 maybe. Yeah,
I
this
love
is not like a
pizza.
brick oven pizza. This is just whatever they're cooking
It
that
should
day, I
also
believe.
be said that no matter, it doesn't matter brick and mortar pizza. I will always love Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza more than anything in the whole entire world.
Really?
I love stuffed crust pizza.
Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Domino's. What are you going? You're going Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm more like Domino's, I think.
Domino's sucks.
I like the
Um,
thin crust.
eh, I don't know. There's like it's like two. They're like two different topics too. It's like it's it's like comparing Taco Bell to Taco Truck. You know, like when you're talking about like a chain pizza versus like a homemade pizza restaurant.
Hmm.
Too, I feel like because like okay, Taco Bell, Taco John's, um, Del Taco. You know, which one do you choose versus
We don't
like
have anything but Taco Bell here, so
pizza truck?
Del Taco and
Del
Taco
Taco.
John's is not a thing here.
Well, everybody else knows what I'm talking about, so anyway. I also got 2 free taco tickets from Taco Bell this week because they were slow. So that was good.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. So we have some other questions that will be related to a lot of like community studio kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So do you
I'm
want to read
excited
the
for
first
these.
one? And that's going to be kind of our topic. It's going to be a lot of different questions that are
Community
related
studio.
to
Yeah.
community studios.
Okay. Would you rather be in a community studio with great management and bad vibes or great vibes and bad management? So let's create some
What?
parameters here.
Yeah. What
Bad
is
management,
considered management?
like bad management, I would say, from judging from not this question, but just in general, I would say like um
This is
constantly is,
anonymous, by the way, so we don't know what
yeah,
community
we don't,
studio they're a part of or what.
right. I would say constantly like blowing up pots, not consistently firing, uh not clean, um
What about their hours, maybe? Like the studio
hours,
hours are
yeah,
kind of
studio hours,
weird, or
yeah. So that's what I would probably say is bad management, right?
okay.
Would you agree? Glaze is
Yeah,
always running.
yeah, yeah. I would say they have more effect on the structure of classes and
Yeah.
maybe great bad management, maybe like overpaying for stuff.
Mhm.
Like you're not getting your value because of
Yeah.
the management is not the best or the
Crappy
results you're getting
clay.
are not. Yeah.
Mhm. Or
Great vibes in Batman. So, and then what would you consider the vibes? Is the vibes only your relationship with the instructors, your other peers in the class and stuff like
I
that?
think relationship with everybody. Yeah, like instructors and peers. I know my answer. Do you know your answer?
I've just not been in the community studio. No, I've been in one community studio, two community studios. What's your answer? And we'll see.
My answer is great vibes, bad management. For me personally, and the reason is because uh because management can be like a bed of hot shit, like it could be total chaos, and if they're like fun and awesome and like just trying like, and if like you enjoy going,
Hmm.
it like it makes up for it, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah, I agree. I think
Because
that
that like
I
and
was, yeah,
I would say that community studios are a stepping stone into having your own studio. And if you have a bad experience at a community studio, like bad vibes, like where you don't want to go, then that's going to really affect the way that you do your stuff in the future, you know?
yeah, I agree. I was on that half of the answer when
Yeah,
I was leaning between the two. I was just, and then as you just said that, I was thinking, what is the benefit of great management? Like, what are you going to get out of great management? You're getting a good value for what you're paying for, and you get
right.
great results.
Yeah,
But like, is that going to want to keep you doing it more? Or,
right.
what if they offered, what if they offered more like training and stuff like that, or you knew more things because they offered classes about kilns and things that would help you in your own studio?
Right. That would be good management, but you can find that all in the YouTubes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't I haven't been in community studio settings enough. I feel like if there's bad vibes, I hopefully you could isolate a little bit so you can get away
right.
from that and choose when you go and don't go.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the person you are too, because like some people just go to the studio to put the headphones in and work. Like I'm not one of those people. I'm one of the type of people that go to the studio and be in this environment to be like
To
have a
hang
fun
out
environment.
and
Yeah.
then get some stuff done while you're there.
Yeah, and
It's
like
not.
have a community and do all the things. Like I can do work at home, like especially when you're in a community studio, a lot of people have wheels at home, still. And they just like bring stuff in. Um and so like that community is really, really important, I think. Um, but also, I would say that in most general cases, if you have good management, the vibes are great. You know,
Hmm.
like
It kind
typically,
of it kind of trickles down from
yeah,
the
typically it
management's
trickles
good
down.
and people are good to work
Mhm.
with, then
Yeah, but if I had to choose a lesser, that would be it. So
yeah. Yeah, the only other folks around me that I've seen leave studios or have reasons that they've shifted studios seems to be more of a vibe thing
yeah,
than a management thing.
yeah,
It's like, and maybe they worked there, so it wasn't necessarily I was a student there and I didn't
yeah,
like the management. It was more like I worked there and I didn't like the vibes of the people around me.
yeah,
But also there could be vibes of other studios where it's like you don't feel like you can approach people because they're too like clicky or they're not very maybe they don't come across as open to questions and things like that. They
yeah.
feel like they've already got their established group and newcomers are don't put out great vibes to allow you to come in. So, good
Definitely.
question. I like that question when it came
That was a
across
good question. That's a very like
anonymously.
thought-provoking question because you don't really think about that,
Hmm.
until
But
you either have one of the bads,
yeah, I'm sure you're in
Yeah.
it and then you're thinking, you know, and then you might not have any other options, right?
Right. Like if it was like if I had to have a community studio and I was running a business, I would probably and like I was counting on them to help me make my money, I'd probably choose good management over bad vibes, you know? Or good vibes. I'd probably choose good management over good vibes if it was like solely my money maker, you know?
If you were the business owner of the studio,
No. Like if I was going to the studio and like my whole life depended on the firings that they were doing coming out well,
oh, right,
I'd
okay.
choose good management over good vibes.
Because you have to rely on them for timelines and not
Mhm.
fucking your stuff up.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good question for sure. All right, next one is what's the best way to tell people slash
Students.
students who think they're good that they need more practice with the basics? Anonymous.
I love this question. This
Best
is
way to tell students who think they're good that they need more practice with the basics.
if
And
you're
good is
in
also like sort of subjective, but
sort of
also depends
subjective.
on what you're going for, what the students' goals are.
Yeah.
But okay.
I
So somebody thinks they're hot shit and they're not.
Well, me and Ryan kind of talked about this before we started, but I will say that if you're in my class, you'll know. You'll know without if you were in my class, I'd be like, you could do this better. Like I'm really blunt.
What's the
No
situation where
feelings.
you say that? Do they ask for your advice or is it you're going around, you're assessing and you're saying you could have done that better at the
It
end result?
usually starts with them like having something and asking a question. Like, why can't I trim this piece well? And then I'll be like, well, that's because your rim isn't flat because you can't figure out how to center your clay. And then I blink. I blink and I stare.
And then
So
they're
let's,
like thinking back, they're like centering clay. That's like, okay.
yeah. But what we both agreed upon, you can say what we both thought would be a good idea.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about doing some kind of a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Like of a whole class.
Yeah, so maybe it's, hey, we're gonna take I always go to this challenge, but it's like we're gonna take a 1 pound ball of clay and see how tall we can pull it.
Yeah.
So you do different challenges to try to test them, not necessarily as a tool to like rank people, but
No.
you're trying to see how they fit with their skills, just back to the basics.
Yeah.
Without thinking of, okay, this is the end goal of what I'm trying to make. It's just let's narrow in and focus on this one thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah. I think that a good way to also approach that is be while and during that like moment where you're like, "Hey, let's do a challenge. Let us um let us kind of oh, I just lost the word that I wanted to use. Let us critique um certain things that we might need to work on uh with when we do this, like everybody, like, really look at what you're struggling with and where you should get, and then do an example.
Can they see that they're struggling? Because you say we
Well,
need to work on. Do a lot of people assume that you're saying you need to work on? Or do they just say, oh, well, they're talking about other people, not me?
I think a lot of people think that, but if you do a challenge correctly and show them what they should be getting at and they can't get there,
Hmm.
then
And is it
then
you setting a standard of this is what
yeah.
I do?
Yeah, I mean that
You
really
shouldn't match me, but you should be
pretty damn close.
proportional
Yeah, so like
or close.
so like okay, I have a fun story. Kind of, my friend, who shall not be named, just actually did this a challenge with her students, and it was just like a fun thing, not because anybody was doing bad, but she was like, "Let's do a 2 pound ball to 10 inches, and then, or maybe it was a foot or something." And she was like, "I should probably try that before
Putting a
I
challenge on them.
I have all them do this," and she doesn't. And she's like, "Okay, so maybe 3 pounds," or like, she like upped the clay because she was like, "That's not realistic." So
Mhm.
yeah, so so like make sure you can do whatever you say they should do, but and I would. I'm gonna say this, and I'm sorry, but there's a lot of teachers out there that could not even probably do that sort of challenge to the best of their ability. You know,
Mhm.
there's some people out there
So
teaching.
they wouldn't necessarily be a benchmark for the class,
Correct.
or they
Yeah.
wouldn't be enough of a benchmark to.
Yeah. So I don't know how to approach that when you're not um up to the standard of, but in maybe this regard it sounds like maybe the teacher's a lot better, than the student. But yeah, I definitely say that, yeah.
Is there a different way to do it?
Like a critique, you could do a critique, like a class critique, and kind of like go over everything and just be blunt, you know? Like when I started doing stuff in Bruning's class, I had a dream about him last night. It was really weird. Anyway, when I started doing stuff in his class, we took all of my mugs, laid them out on a table, and he was like, "All right, let's critique everything." And he was like, "These bottoms are way too thin. Look at them falling over. And these handles could have had better connections." And like was very straightforward, and it was very helpful, you
Hmm.
know? But I don't know, that's a really hard
I wonder.
situation.
Yeah, I wonder if so similar to a challenge, what if you went into it with we're gonna produce do as best you can with 5 things, and then
Mm,
we're gonna assess them,
yeah.
and you're only gonna keep 2 of them. So
Or
you
yeah,
will
like
have to smash.
like everybody does the exact same thing and assess.
And then I think with the intention of, hey, we're only gonna save the best of the best, it builds in
Yeah.
that ability of saying you don't have to save every piece, and also you can assess why something is better than the other.
Yeah.
Not that you're comparing like individuals to each other, but you're comparing the 5 pieces in front of you to
Yeah.
each other that you made.
I keep like reading this I keep reading this question, and I keep thinking about like how I would handle it like personally, like in the past. And I know that I would just go up to somebody, not in front of everybody. Let's keep that in mind. Like privately, and be, or nonchalantly, and be like, "Hey, I really like where you're going with all of these things, but I think maybe you need to work on centering a little bit more. And I'm more than happy to help you. I would love to help you, you know?
Hmm.
And um I think that's exactly how I would do it, honestly. Just to be like straightforward and to the point because it's not really helping them to be not good at the basics, you know? Ooh,
You treat that
you could tell them to get a consultation by Becca Otis. I will help them. Anyway, continue.
fivelinesspottery.com.
Five lines, Yeah. I just think, I don't know. I mean, like, I think the competition is a good way for them to realize that maybe they need some help, but just to
Do we
be
also?
honest,
I also wonder if we're assuming that everybody wants to be better and better and better. Like
true.
maybe they don't, but
Maybe they don't. Yeah. But if they think they're good and they aren't, and you're in a teacher situation,
are you responsible for humbling them?
right? And I think you might be. I it's not a fun thing to do, you know, unless you
Yeah,
hate them.
I would avoid that. I would hate that situation. I would not do that. I don't know. I mean, the challenge thing sounds good, and the whole hey, let's focus on making three pieces and then
Yeah.
assessing. That sounds like a good idea to me, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Or hey, we're gonna make three pieces and we're gonna cut all of them in half and assess how they look.
Right. Yeah, that's good too. The cutting in half always kind of kicks you right in the ass. Kicks me in the ass all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
but yeah, I know how I would handle it, but it's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. And I think a challenge is a good way to do it.
I think it takes a good teacher to do that, to be able to do that.
Right. Like I have the ability like
That
I'm
discouraging because you could sound like you're criticizing, you're discouraging people
right.
when they just want to be there to have fun, or
Right.
maybe they want to be there to have fun, but maybe there are some that want to be critical or
Yeah.
more
Oh, that brings up
like
a good point.
growth, right? So, and then do
Right.
you split people up and you say, okay, well, those of you
Yeah.
who want to progress, let's do this challenge. So you're not including everybody for people that don't really care about that.
Right. Yeah, it is important too. Like I'd probably come up and be like, "So, what are your plans? Like what are your goals?" And I actually usually ask people that at the very beginning of a session anyway, where I say, "Why are you here? Like do you want to just have fun? Do you want to learn? Do you want to be the best potter in the whole world? Like,
Or
you
do you
know,
just want a Wednesday night away from kids?
yeah, do you just need some time just to put your hands in the clay and just fuck around?" And that's really important because if you're just in that situation, I will let you be. You
Hmm.
you can have your time.
Yeah, because how enjoyable is it with somebody imposing this challenge on you when you're
Right.
like, I'm just here to have fun. I don't want to be
Yeah.
challenged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if they think they're good and they need more practice, I mean, I thought I was good in college and I needed a lot of practice. Nobody told me otherwise. I turned out fine. Um, is it important to tell them?
Hmm.
You know?
I feel like it's kind of in sports. Some people feel like they're just great and they don't need to put in that work and the repetition
Mm,
to practice.
that's
Like,
fair.
okay, you're supposed to practice your, are you doing your free throws or whatever? And
Yeah.
you're shooting good enough, but could you be better? Or,
Could you be better?
you know, I mean, that's more of a team thing. So
Just
it
like
does actually
pass
have
over a
impact.
note. But could you be better? I love this mug. Yeah, but could you be better?
Could
Could
it
it
be
be
better?
better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough question that yeah, is very personality driven. I do feel like, but I hope we gave some uh insights to how we
Yeah.
would handle it.
Yeah. I would
You would
generally stay away
yeah.
from criticizing people or critiquing people if they're not open to it.
Yeah, you're
Because
I
I don't want to ruin the vibe for anybody. So that's generally how I teach.
yeah.
But That's just me. I'm also like I'm not the best teacher. Like I don't care about teaching as much as other people that care about teaching. Like that's
Yeah.
their thing. It's not really my thing.
Yeah. Um, yeah. And I am a very blunt teacher, but I also have an extremely good like fun personality. So whatever I say typically goes well.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't, and then you can leave. That's that it either goes really, really well or really, really not. So there's no in between.
So what
Yes.
flavor of pudding's your favorite?
So yeah, what type of pudding do you like?
Go back. All right. Next question.
I'll say this one because you've said most of them. I have something to pick both of your brains about. I rent a space in kilns to fire. I gladly pay the price for firing, but I was thinking, should I be tipping as well? Thanks, absolutely. Love the podcast and Jewett. I think I responded to her personally, but I'm
Yeah.
curious
So
what you have to
so
say.
she's running kiln space.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like a tipping thing, personally. It just doesn't it seems like that's the job of what you're paying for. I
yeah,
don't really see it as a tipping kind of situation like other services. But
right. Nobody
would you
tips
feel
me.
weird getting tipped for that?
I would not.
You
It was
wouldn't, but like what situation? Okay. I
okay.
would
Here's
feel kind of weird. I would be like, "You're tipping me?"
I
Okay.
think that I think what I responded to with this was um it depends on who's loading the kiln. You know, if it is the owner loading the kiln, no, don't tip them. If it's a employee that gets paid hourly, or they don't get paid a lot, maybe tipping is good, but maybe not tipping um, monthly or like randomly. Maybe do like a Christmas bonus is what I would say.
Ooh, I like that.
So like and maybe like twice. So do like an Easter bonus and a Christmas bonus, where
How do
you're
you
like
know who's doing it? Do you just assume that it's the
typically
same
people
person all the
know.
time?
Yeah, and I mean like and if there's multiple like, people that work there then, but like yeah, I mean if somebody handed me like a $20 gift card to or just 20 bucks at Christmas time and a little tiny toy dinosaur, I'd be elated, you know?
What if no toy dinosaur was included?
I don't know if I'd be as happy.
Okay.
I did I tell you that I got a toy dinosaur in a tip?
No.
I went to Beech Grove Clayworks to do a little workshop, and I did it for free because it was just fun for me to do. And they it was like the sweetest thing in the whole world. They all like gave little ones and fives, and like there was probably like maybe $15 in this envelope, and there was a pencil, a number two pencil, a sticker, a few stickers, and then a tiny, tiny toy dinosaur that was like an inch long and
Hmm.
like a half an inch tall. And I was like, this is the best payment I've
Awesome.
ever gotten. Like you could tell they just like threw it together. um yeah, so but definitely I would say like a Christmas or a holiday bonus.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
idea. I
appropriate.
like that.
Yeah.
It would just seem kind of weird to tip them every single time, or just tipping them
Right.
in general just feels. I would see the bonus as not like a tip. I would see that as like a thank you.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is, like, hey, we really appreciate what you've done and like how you've handled
Hmm.
our work and stuff like that.
Especially if
Yeah.
you're selling your stuff and it relies on them to have good
Yeah.
firings.
Yeah. And
So
don't give them pottery. Like I know that's like probably super
don't give
lame.
them one of your pieces that they unloaded. That
Yeah,
was,
don't do
hey,
that.
this is a piece I really love that I would love you to have.
Yeah, like don't do that. Like they probably have enough pots, you know. If they express interest in a pot at some point, just be like, "Hey, here you go." But don't make that your tip um or bonus or whatever. Now, how much would you give a bonus at the end of the year, do you think, to like, let's say, let's, um, let's
Depends on how
say,
much you're firing, right?
yeah, I guess it does depend on how much you're firing. Let's say you're firing 5 to 10 pieces a week.
5 to 10 pieces a week. Can we just do number of kiln firings a month?
Sure. Well, she rents space in a kiln. So we'll say like a full kiln a month. Let's say that.
Okay. So 12 firings a year.
24 actually, because bisque.
Oh, okay. 2 kilns a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was initially just thinking $50.
Ooh, $50 is a good round number. I like that number. Yeah,
I feel like if you went 100, that'd be feeling like a lot,
that's a lot.
especially if they're not expecting it. 50's like, oh, but 20 seems like, meh.
20 is a little, yeah. Like for the whole year, I think $50 is appropriate
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Would you change it if
And a
you?
thing of cookies.
Oh, handmade
Yeah.
food. Yeah,
Yeah.
food or snacks.
Yeah.
Little
Hell yeah.
holiday snacks would be good. My
Yeah.
mom always used to make chocolate covered pretzels, and she would give them to like our mail person
Male
and
person. Your mom told me about
my
that.
uh, teachers and stuff. In school, I would always bring those in and give those to teachers.
Oh, can I add this in? Um, this is not about community studios, but now's the time. I hope we have this before Christmas. If you're gonna give a mug or if you're gonna give anything to your postman or garbage person, I absolutely recommend you putting in something that says world's greatest garbage person or world's greatest postman or mailman or mailwoman. Um, Best gift I've ever given, honestly.
Should I get? Should I give them something at the post office? I don't
Yeah.
have a person picking up my mail. Well, I they drop off the mail, but they don't pick up anything. So
Um, can they put like, yeah, what you should do is give them a bowl and then on it say world's greatest post office. And so they can put candy in it behind the window.
well, there's no window. It's just a counter. But
Oh, perfect. So then, like
maybe
put a bunch of chocolate, like, Hershey's Kisses in it and give it to them so they can have a little candy bowl.
I don't know if I'll do that. But I was thinking of gifting a mug to each one or something.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
I feel like I know their names enough to remember. I'll make some mental notes of it when I go up there in the next few days. I know there's a Mark and a Chris.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know the
still,
third one.
world's greatest postal worker is a hit, fan favorite every time.
World's greatest postal worker. Okay.
Yeah, and if you give it to four of them, that's even better. Because I'm like, what? You should have one that says world's greatest est.
Greatest test.
That's not really your sense brand of humor, but
No, it's not.
um yeah. And yeah, but anyway, I really recommend that for your peeps that do gifts.
Maybe I'll give them a box of four and then just let them figure out who wants what.
Yeah.
Four different ones that won't have names on them or anything,
Right. That's a good idea.
and then they can figure out what they
Yeah,
want to
and
do.
remember that your postal guy cannot get tips. So you cannot give tips to anybody at the post office because it's a government facility. So they can get gifts under a certain amount of money. I want to say it's $50. But if it's cash, nobody needs to know.
How do you
So
give them cash?
you just give it to them and they put it in their pocket.
Okay. My mom always used to put the stuff in the mailbox with the flag up.
I know. I think
But
your
they
mom
walk.
actually did tell me that like she looked it up at how much money they can get as a gift
Hmm.
and made sure that it was like under that
Sounds like
amount.
something she would do.
Yeah.
Could you
But
imagine
anyway,
if they're walking and they're getting all these gifts and they're well, I mean it's just whenever, but
well, they walk for like a mile and they go back to their
yeah,
vehicle.
ours on our street they walk probably 12 or 15 houses before they get back to the
Yeah.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. That's the tipping thing.
Yeah.
And then there is one more question. All right. How much work, and this is from Anonymous, how much work is reasonable to make or have fired at a community studio? Do you think there's a limit?
Oh, there's a limit.
All right.
100%.
Does it matter if we're talking about a weekly class versus a space rental, like a booth rental?
Mm. Oh, like a kiln rental, you mean? Like
Well,
it's
like Queen City Clay has booth rental, booth or half booth, which is just a wheel and shelving, and you have your
okay.
own dedicated space. And if you have a
Okay.
half booth, that means you share with one other person, and you just figure out scheduling of when you're going to be there.
Yeah, but then how
And
do
then they
they
pay for
kiln?
kiln space.
They pay for kiln space.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in a place like Queen City Clay where they have like 17 kilns,
Yeah.
no, there's not a limit. But in a place that has 2 kilns, there's a limit,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Well, plus the place with two kilns, you're probably not paying per kiln load.
Right.
You're probably paying for your clay, and then the firing is included as part of the clay that you're buying.
Maybe, but like Josh has tickets for his, like Josh Heim, he has tickets for the amount of space you take up in the kiln. So, um, and a lot of places are doing that now where they pay per, like, you pay for the bag and you get maybe bisque for free, but then you have to pay for the glaze firing of how much
Mm-hmm.
space you have in the kiln because if it's tall or if it's wide,
Mm.
you know.
What is
But
that
yeah,
equivalent to? Like one full kiln for a whole 8 weeks or something, or half a kiln?
I don't know. I don't know how they do it. He has like a height versus width chart,
Mm-hmm.
that he has. But I definitely got told I was taking too much space in the kiln.
What studio?
Bruning.
And burning.
Yeah. And then his wife was like, absolutely not. You can do whatever you want. And then a month later, I left.
Because they know that when they say that, you're kind of on your way out.
Well, I think that he was thinking about the business and how much stuff they were putting in the kilns. And she was thinking about me
The box
and
and the management.
my growth. Yeah. And like making sure that I think that she saw that I had a lot of potential as an actual potter and she
And you
wanted
could have sunk if you went out and you had to buy your own kiln and your own stuff, and you would have had to
right.
pay for that.
Yeah. So, but I was doing a lot more than most people. I was putting like 100 pieces in a week. So,
Right. 100 a week?
yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely over the limit.
That's over the limit. That is 100% over the limit.
Because 100
Um,
pieces, that's probably half a kiln. More than that. A kiln? Depends on the size of the kiln,
well, they were tiny. They were small, like pinch pots, so they could like scoot them in. And
that's
here's
still annoying to fit.
very annoying. But they weren't it also was a car kiln, so they pulled it out, a train kiln or whatever. So they pulled it out and they never actually moved any of the shelves. They kind of just like put pieces in. So it was a little less annoying. But um here's what I would suggest. I don't know what you would suggest, but here's what I would suggest. There is a limit.
Hmm.
That limit needs to be discussed with your um studio owner because
Hmm.
um they could be like you can do as much as you want, it's fine. um
And then they're kind of on the hook for agreeing to that because you
exactly,
specifically talked to them.
yeah, but they could have a limit and you need to respect that limit. Now it might, it might be something like, hey, I'm starting to make a lot of stuff, can I pay for an entire kiln, you know
Hmm.
like once every 2 weeks, um so it's not impeding on them and you say I'll load it, um you know, I take
Would
responsibility.
they trust you to load their kiln?
Well, I think you can say, "Hey, like I'll come in and we can load it together," or something like that. um, for the first time, and then
Yeah.
and then they have a little bit more trust in you. What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of relating it to the number of bags of clay you would use
Mm,
because that's kind of how we did it at Baker Hunt and what I don't know how other classes do it. I know in a lot of classes you do an 8-week class, you get one bag of clay included.
yeah, most clay
And
places
usually
cycle.
that's going to be fine. I would say for 8 weeks, you shouldn't be doing more than 2 bags of clay for 8 weeks. I don't know what that equivalent is for pots necessarily, but it seems like you can get a lot of stuff made with 2 bags, like 50 pounds of clay in an 8-week
Yeah,
class. But you also, Baker Hunt didn't have any outside studio time, so maybe 2 bags of clay is nothing for 8 weeks. But
right.
I like the talking with them portion. Um, you also may be bringing up ideas that they haven't actually ran into yet. So
Yeah,
it's kind of better to assess it on a good footing instead of hitting the wall and then they have to figure out what they do and then they may come down harder on you because it's the first time and they want to set an example of like what's acceptable and what's not.
yeah,
Not necessarily like they're going to be too harsh on you, but
right.
they're overwhelmed by it and then they got to come back to normal.
I
And then it feels like they're chopping an arm off of you or something because you were getting this before and now it's not okay. So,
yeah. I I had a student who we didn't really have this exact conversation like we should have, but she was making a bunch of really small things. And I remember loading the kiln and being like, Karma is such a fucking bitch. Like, like loading the kiln and being like, "Ugh, this is the world getting back at me for making Bruning load all those fucking pinch pots. Like,
mhm.
there was so many. I was so pissed every time I had to load the kiln just because of how many small, stupid things there were. And they were like double sided and they had to be on stilts.
Oh,
And
fuck that.
it was horrible. Um,
And then you get blamed if something happens with the glazing and
yeah.
the glaze firing because you're stilting them and they gotta.
Yeah. Oh, hey, tell everybody what you got in the mail. We forgot to say that.
Oh, I did. I got some advanced shelves in the mail.
Have you used them yet?
I have not. I've got the full shelf in my bisque kiln right now. I need to fill the rest of it and then I'll fire it. So we'll
Did you
see
look
how that goes.
online? They have like specific instructions. I don't know if you have to prime the shelf or not.
It says they're already fired
Good to go.
and they're good to go.
Okay.
Just don't get them wet is kind of the main thing.
Don't get them wet. And I like to dust a little alumina on the top.
I'm not gonna do that, but
Why?
why would I?
Are you just gonna use them for bisque?
No, but I'm gonna fire them in bisque right now. I mean, part
I
of the
didn't.
reason I don't want to put alumina on them is because my other shelves that I have alumina for are flat like that, and I don't want to have to keep doing that. That's part of the reason I got the shelves. So if I fire underglaze on them, ideally it wouldn't stick. But
Okay. Okay, but you have to
will it stick?
please just listen to me. Okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. You're not like putting a shit ton of alumina on. You're putting like a salt shaker amount of alumina on and then rubbing it across the shelf because it
Okay.
will stick a tiny bit, but not a lot. The alumina just helps it just glide.
What do I do with that shelf when I take it out of the kiln with alumina on it?
You won't even notice that it's there. Like literally,
Can I turn the shelf on its side
yeah,
and stand it up, or is the alumina going to get all over the floor when I do that?
no. It's going to be like literally like when you make pizza and you put flour on the top of it and you just like dust it.
So is the alumina going to stay on the shelf and bake into the shelf?
It doesn't bake into it. It just kind of like you'll see. Okay, when you take it out of the glaze kiln for the first time, run your hand across it. I know, very risky in a kiln, but it shouldn't have any like glass pieces. But run your hand across it and you'll feel it. You'll feel it kind of like catch a little. And if you just like, I would honestly like, this is such bad practice, but when I had these shelves, I would literally dust a little on and take my bare hand and just run it all over it just to get it into like the little grooves that stuck, and then it was good. Because if a glaze like runs on it, you're gonna have to take it off, which is fine. And then you just want to put a tiny bit of alumina on it. It does help, I promise. I know it's weird.
I just
It's
don't want to. I want to be able to stand them up on their side when I take them out of the kiln. I don't want
oh
to have
yeah.
to keep them standing parallel to the
No, it's
ground so
yeah,
that no
we're
aluminum
not
gets on the
talking
ground. I don't
about
want dust on the ground and stuff like that.
we're not talking about heaps of alumina. We're talking about a tablespoon of alumina,
Okay.
maybe,
Which
or a
is what I
teaspoon.
have. I have heeps of alumina on my shelves
Yeah,
now
no,
that I put
we're
my
not talking
underglaze
about
on.
that.
Okay.
Definitely not talking about that. We're like literally
But
just
is that recommendation for certain types of clay
definitely for the
that are more
underglaze.
likely to stick to the shelf or not stick to the shelf? Like with
Um,
plucking, or you're not talking
it'll
about
pluck a little bit. Yeah, it'll pluck a little bit. Um, that's what I just found. I was using porcelain. It might be a little bit different, but that's what I found with the porcelain is that if I did that dusting of alumina, my bottoms were way softer and I didn't have to sand them as much.
with okay, so you had like a porcelaneous stoneware.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just like do your
Huh.
first firing, see how it works, and then if it
Yeah.
does take a little bit off,
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious how the speckled clay is going to do because normally the speckled clay will have the little dots
the kiln shelf.
on the kiln
Yeah.
shelf for the regular kiln wash during glaze firing. So I'm wondering if that's going to have any effect. Like if I were to do that and then put a white pot on top of that over
Do you
time.
have do you have one of those grinder red handled grinder things?
No, I got that stone that they have with it.
Okay, well with the stone then maybe I have one of the grinder things which I would just take over each shelf every time no matter what and just like run it over it and get all those pieces off and then kind of like brush it off. Um that
I'm
might
not going
be
to do that, but maybe if I see it there. But I
fine.
don't know. Like I don't do that with my kiln shelf now with kiln wash on it. So like why would I do it with that? Because there's nowhere for it to penetrate. Like would you sand a regular kiln shelf with kiln wash if those little specks were on there?
Well, I don't have kiln wash on my kiln shelves, but um
Your Dark Star doesn't do that, does it? It's a different kind of specs than mine, I'm guessing.
oh, it transfers to the kiln shelf for sure.
Okay, so it's similar to what I have.
Yeah, it transfers for sure. I just don't do anything about it because I'm not switching clays. So I would say if you are switching clays, then I would maybe do a quick sweep over the shelf. Now, I treated my kiln shelves a lot differently than I treated my regular ones. Always have, always will. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I mean, occasionally I will have a little bits of kiln wash that'll stick to the pot,
Yeah.
and usually I just rub two pieces together and then it
Right.
comes off. So
Just
that could be
remember,
little bits of the
yeah,
speck that was on a different pot that stuck to the bottom of the pot that I
yeah.
just fired.
Remember that the the advancer kiln shelves are not avoiding plucking per se. They are avoiding the pot sticking to the kiln. So like um
They're avoiding the glaze sticking or the pot sticking.
the pot and glaze sticking. So that doesn't mean that the glaze won't stay on the shelf or the clay won't stay on the shelf, but it might like pick up and move a little bit, you know? So
Move a little bit. So you're saying that are you're talking about with like wide surface areas because the
yeah,
kiln the
well,
clay is still
I'm kind of
shrinking
like
on
I'm
the shelf.
it's really hard to explain. But like let's say you're doing your underglaze on the bottom, okay?
Hmm.
And let's say you just put it straight on a shelf, okay?
It's a flat bottom. I mean, it's got carving, but it's a flat surface that
Flat
is
surface
or
and it's got
underglaze.
underglaze on it. Okay, the likelihood of that sticking to the shelf is very slim. but there is a chance that it will stick. But the difference is that it'll stick, and then the pot will shrink and it will move with it, but it'll still be kind of like taken off of the pot a little bit. But you'll be able to get it off of the shelf really easily.
The underglaze will come off the pot.
It might. Now,
What if it's slick?
if you brush your kiln shelves with alumina, they won't. it's
Okay.
it's so
So
hard to
it's the
explain.
same thing of the whole sand is like little mini ball bearings on kiln
It's
shelves.
the same thing.
Similar with alumina, it's little ball bearings
Yeah.
so things can shift and move and it's not going to
Yeah, I
stick.
mean, like, yes, they are really good about like it not sticking to a pot and cracking the pot because it's stuck and it won't move. Um, but that doesn't mean that they're invincible to the fact of it taking away a little bit of glaze off of your pot, you know?
Underglaze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I would still try one without doing anything and see
Yeah.
what it does because it might be great. But if
I
it
mean,
does have like a little issue, literally the smallest amount of alumina can change the whole thing.
yeah.
And
I mean, I'm going to dip my toe in the water, so I'm not going to put a whole shelf full of pots with nothing
yeah,
on them and then I'm like, "Well, fuck.
yeah,
Didn't think this was going to happen." So,
yeah,
I'll do the little test cups that have slip on them, that have underglaze on them with the
yeah,
bottoms, put them straight on the shelf like I would ideally want.
yeah,
No alumina, no anything fancy.
yeah. Hopefully it works. I just found that like brushing it on was quite helpful.
Okay.
So
Does it matter if you do that before the very first firing or
I did, but it doesn't matter. You can do
okay.
whatever you want.
I just don't want a luminous dust on the studio floors and stuff. That's why I don't want to brush it. But if you say it bakes into it, then that would eliminate that.
It doesn't bake into it. It's just not as much as you're thinking.
Okay.
It's literally like I said,
A
it's
little
probably
bit will
like
go a long way.
a teaspoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I ended up getting a full shelf and then two half shelves and the little block thing.
The block thing. Yeah.
The eraser, I think is what they call it, but to get any chunks of glaze off the shelf that
Yeah.
you kind of grind it with, like you're talking about the red handled thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they go. I haven't fired it yet. Um, I got it kind of as a trial to see how I like them and
Yeah.
if they help me with loading the kiln or if I
Gosh, they're
can
so light. Ugh,
if
bless.
if I can like play around with um what pots I could put on them and not put on them like we were just talking about the underglaze stuff. And then I kind of want to see with like spoon rests and stuff if I could put an extra layer and then they're thinner so they don't hold as much heat. So I wonder if it would
Yeah.
displace the heat a little bit differently
Yeah.
besides having this huge chunk of a half-inch shelf, three-quarter-inch
Mhm.
shelf in there.
Yeah.
So we'll play around with that and see how that does. Um, I hope that I can, when I load them and I put the shelf in, I'll try to load it lower, maybe. Maybe it'll be the first shelf I put in there because they should be pretty stable. They don't like warp and stuff. So I might put it not the very bottom shelf, but maybe the first shelf up in my really
Yeah.
tall kiln and see if that helps displace
The heat.
the heat a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely experiment with it and see how they work. But I'm
Did we
excited to get those and try them out.
Yeah, that'll be good. Did we finish this question that I totally interrupted in?
how
I feel
much
like we did.
how much work is reasonable to make or have fire at community studio? Do you think there's a limit?
I think it
Do
like
you
I
know? Do you have to know the limit, or is it up to the studio to tell you the limit?
No, it's up to the studio to tell you the limit. It's up to
Hmm.
you to discuss with the studio about the limit because like my my kilns in like my old studio, I had a huge oval kiln, a medium big kiln, and then a baby kiln. If someone started making so much stuff, and this did happen once, someone started making so much stuff, and I was like, hey, you want to just load up the baby kiln and you can fire it? Like, I'll teach you how to fire it, and we'll just do it that way. And she was like, great. And then I didn't have to worry about it. Or
Could
like
they
maybe,
fire it whenever?
yeah, like, or maybe I fired it, but she loaded it. And I didn't have to worry about getting all of her stuff in all the time. I also think that if you are making that much stuff, you have to be the one that's flexible with time, you know?
Oh yeah, demanding things when you're kind of on borrowed time with them
Yeah.
anyways. They have
Yeah.
a couple reasons to probably have some tough conversations with you,
Yeah.
whether it's
And
you need to pay more or you need to get out.
yeah.
Not get out.
I
Hopefully
would
they don't
say
have to tell
100
you just to
pieces
get
a
out.
week is well over the limit. I've done that.
Yeah,
100
I was thinking like 30 pieces a week would probably be a reasonable limit.
30 pieces a week. If somebody did 30 pieces a week at my studio, that would have been a lot, you know?
Yeah, 100
So,
is way past the limit.
way past it. Way, way, way past. But like 30 pieces, I feel like is a reasonable limit. Yeah.
Yeah, and most
I
people
mean,
aren't even at that production that they could make 30 pieces a week.
sorry. Woo. Um, yeah. Most people aren't.
Do you so we kind of came to this a little bit at Baker Hunt when they were changing some of the class instruction structure
Yeah.
because there were some students that were using more of the studio time to make what they wanted.
Mhm.
Not necessarily take advantage, but they were using the studio to make holiday
To its
presents
fullest.
to its
Yeah.
fullest, and they were making what they wanted to make, and then they were using studio glazes, or they were bringing their own glazes in and firing, um and there was some perception that they were just using the studio for the firings,
Isn't that the point?
and they weren't necessarily following like there wasn't necessarily a curriculum for those upper level students because it wasn't everybody was doing different things at an
Right.
advanced state. People are in different states of what they want to make and what they spend their time doing and what they end up glazing and all this stuff. So they're doing their own thing for the most part, and
Yeah.
you're kind of there to proctor and spectate and help out, do demos where requested. But um, there was a perception that they were doing more, so they kind of tailored it to, hey, now we're going to make the class more curriculum based, where everybody is making the same thing. Not exact same thing, but it's like teapot is our focus right now, and we're
Did
doing
they
this for
drop out? I would have
for three
dropped out.
weeks. So naturally, what ended up happening was a lot of those students leave,
Yeah, I would
or they
have.
go to other studios where they have that flexibility because they want that flexibility.
Yeah. I would have left. I mean,
So, you
it's
know,
dumb if you've been there for 4 years and they're like, "We're going to do teapots this week." Like, fuck you, Janet. Like, I'm going to do whatever I fucking want because I've been here forever and I've given you $5,000. Like, like,
so I think that that kind of plays into the limit and what's reasonable, where that's where management, and it kind of relates to what we were talking about earlier, where management shifts
management
kind of the I kind of want to say,
expectations.
I want to say like the mission statement, or like
Yeah.
the reason behind the way we're structuring the offerings that we have.
Were those like what they were doing for fun? Was it getting in the way?
It was some of the sizing was excessive. Like, so
Okay.
one of the things was you're producing a lot of work, and some of the work may have had issues that you took up kiln space for that may not have been the top quality work that you could have been producing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of to a point where you had to either, as an instructor, you had to have the conversations with the students of saying, hey, you know what? We need to refine our craft a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's slow down, less focus on higher production and more quantity, and more focus on fewer things, better quality. So that's where you had to kind of get into those conversations. I wasn't personally open to having those conversations as much because I was more, like I said earlier, I don't want to have those difficult conversations because I'm not the one firing the kiln and setting the rules. but
Right.
also, I want to be there for them to have fun and enjoy making what they're making. And
Yeah.
if they have issues, then I can answer the questions of why the issues happen, but I don't want to enforce them to have to
Yeah.
follow these guidelines of what the curriculum entails, which is part of the reason I pulled back, which I've never talked about on here, but that's
Yeah.
some of the reason of where the studio gets to decide what offerings they have and what they don't, and what the students are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do.
Yeah. For
Um,
sure.
but I mean that also plays in the limit too, because some of it was some people are taking advantage somewhat of what is available with our studio.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about two kilns and a class is taking up by themselves a kiln,
Mhm.
and they've still got, you know, 4 other days of classes or 5 other days of classes. I mean, you got
Right.
to do something. If you don't have space to add another kiln to the studio,
Yeah.
and the people who are paying the same amount as a beginning student that's not producing as much work, what do you do? Do you charge more for the advanced class because they're producing more work, or do you charge more for a bag? So what? One of the options was they charge more for the second bag of clay. So your first bag of clay you get is whatever, $25, and then the second
Yeah.
bag of clay is $35.
Yeah.
So you pay more for the excess clay you're getting. But yeah, that's kind of some of the options that'll play into that. I mean, if you don't have the space, you can't add more kiln space. So what do you do? I mean, you got to do something. You're not going
Yeah,
to
you got to
cut
set
down classes,
boundaries.
right?
Yeah, you got to set guidelines and boundaries.
So,
Man, sucks. They didn't handle the situation very well though, so but I probably shouldn't have said
but yeah,
that.
and then you got to work with personalities of people. Like you can't change
No.
how people are going to react and how people are. And some people are going to be there and they're going to make the decisions, and you can't change who's making the decisions just because you don't agree with it. So you kind
Mhm.
of have to meld and adjust to what's the reality of what the situation is, or you can go elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
So, luckily, we're in a place where students themselves can go elsewhere. They can go to other studios that have other
Oh yeah,
offerings.
there's
They
like
can pay,
so many.
and they can pay. They're paying for that flexibility because, for one, Baker Hunt was so cheap. Where a
Yeah.
class was $175, Queen City Clay might have been 250,
Yeah.
but you might have got more open studio time that you didn't get.
Right.
So that's where you can pick and choose where you want to take
Yeah,
classes at, and the different offerings that different places have. So
for sure. Yeah.
yes, I think we fully answered that question. And then some.
Uh,
Would you ever want to be in a community studio again,
no.
or lead a community studio again?
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? You know what though? I will say I don't know if I should share this, but
Would you rather have a community studio that focused on teaching classes and didn't have members, or just members to have
members, only members. I
just
would
members?
maybe do it if it was only members. I had one of the ladies reached out to me um who was in my community studio, and she has moved to Alaska.
Wow.
And she sent me this really long, really thoughtful message. I had talked about on Instagram that I was kind of in burnout mode, and she oh my god, it was like the most thoughtful message. She started it with like, your studio was my fallout, my home, my place to be, so I thank you. And like it almost made me cry. It was she
She said
was
that when you, like, in response to your,
yeah, in kind of response, and
like,
she was like,
hey, what you were doing was worth it.
right, and she was like, I know that, like, I didn't know that you were so depressed, but I wanted you to know that your studio made such an impact in my life when I was going through a bad time, that it
Hmm.
was, it saved
Yeah, it was
her,
like a little haven for them when they came to
Right.
the studio.
And she's in Alaska now, and she's like, I'm not sure that I fit, you know? And she isn't she's She's a wonderful human being. But she was one of the people that I had to just let them learn how to do it on their own,
Hmm.
you know, because
You
and
can
I
only tell people so much if they're not
right
opening their ears
and
to listen.
yeah, and I was so grateful that she was in my class and stuff. And but yeah, so she's like joining a new studio, and um, she might not fit in as much, but it was like even doing this episode, like I'm thinking about all the funny things that happened, you know, and all the connections I made when I had the studio, and I loved it so much. I mean, I love the people, and like of course there was weird fucking shit that happened, and
Hmm.
and like things that like people that joined that I was like, please leave. Like I couldn't count the days until they left, you know. Um but but overall it was a wonderful experience, and it was a safe haven for a lot of people,
Hmm.
and I may not have been the best business person or maybe the best teacher, but we always had a good time. And
Hmm.
after I like learned the ropes a little bit, there was like a learning period, of course, but it was great. And
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, it seems like the membership aspect, if you focus on that, that's probably a pay the bills kind of a financial situation.
yeah,
Making sure your equipment and everything's paid for, and then the teaching is the profit part of it.
yeah, it
But it
can
also
be.
requires the most churn of
Memberships can be
marketing.
really profitable too, though. Like, there's a local studio here that um, they have a wait list for their membership.
Uh-huh. Well, you're at a capacity, right?
Yeah,
You come to a capacity of how many you can hold, and then
yeah.
you're kind of maxed out. But then what do you do? Do you increase the price every year or something to keep growing?
I think you increase the space,
You make the
probably.
space bigger?
Yeah, that's what I would do. If
How
you're,
would you do that if you rented a big building? How would you increase your space in that 3,000 square foot building?
oh, in mine,
Yeah, just as an example, if you moved into a big space or a space and you're
yeah.
at capacity, if it's a smaller building that you're renting, so you have to up and move to a different place in
Well,
hopes that you would keep growing.
I know an example that like, I think that if okay, let's say I was doing classes and memberships, okay, and it got to a point where I was making like we had every membership spot filled. We had a wait list for 25 more members. Okay,
And how many members do you have right now in that
20.
situation? 20. Okay. So
Okay, you have
double.
20 members and you have double the membership available, and people are like trying to get in. And then you have classes, and let's say you're in a 2,000 square foot space. Okay, I would, if it were I would get another space that's probably 2,000 square feet, move all the members over there, move a kiln over there, and make the main space your classes space.
So
So
have
it's
them kind of I
two
mean,
separate
really
identities.
all they need is equipment and shelving for the most
Right.
part in a
Two
kiln.
separate identities, wheels, kiln, shelving. Wheels, kiln, slab roller, shelving. And yeah, that's what I would do. And
Ideally, you would have access to a space like that in proximity.
right,
So yeah.
ideally, obviously, but if you are already in business and you are already like doing well, separating those two spaces wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't like be bad, you know?
Hmm.
Because the
But that gives you
membership
more maintenance that you have to take care of as
it
well.
does, but the membership side they take care of themselves for the most part, you know? You have certain guidelines for membership, like you
And
have to
then
clean up your shit.
do you need somebody else to help with some of the membership? Um, Not babysitting, but like the logistics with members and stuff, with making sure they pay on time and bringing new members in. Here's what you get access to. Here's how you,
Well,
or
I mean,
maybe
you can
you have an
set up
assistant that
a
loads the kilns or something.
right, you can set up like things for that.
Seems like you're doubling your membership, but you're not accounting for the extra mental space that it's going to take to double your membership once you
True.
get that many people to.
True, but in my experience, members take care of themselves for the most part. And yeah, it's going to take a little bit of work at the beginning, but once they have their routine in, it's fine. And
And
then
then that allows you to teach more people in that space
in the
because
original space, yeah.
so you're basically doubling your options in both by having two spaces.
Well, yeah, you're doubling your business, so you essentially have two locations, but instead of having one location with teaching and membership and one location with teaching and membership, you have one location with membership, one location with teaching. So,
Hmm.
but I would also, if it were I would also take a couple members that you know are superior or or ones that you know care and say, "Hey, I'll take $20 off your membership if you clean the floors once a week." Or like, take
Load the kilns.
yeah, or and like barter with money for a few members to work on the
Or would
cleaning stuff
you
or
offer a free membership or something if they were the
maybe.
studio assistant and
Yeah,
they
maybe.
it seems like a lot more a lot of extra work. You said like doubling your business, right?
Of course it's extra work, but if you want to grow, that's how you're going to do it, you know?
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't do it personally,
I was gonna say that
but
sounds like a nightmare.
I would rather just have people it be in demand. But
Yeah.
but that's because I've already been through growth before and it sucks.
Smaller
So,
space at capacity
yeah.
and then you don't have to worry about making the rent on the studio space that's members. It's just we're already
Right.
taken care of. We're just focusing time on the
Coasting.
teaching part of it maybe
Yeah.
and kind of optimizing as much as you can in the space that the smaller space that you have available.
Yeah.
I don't know, moving space just sounds like a nightmare, but if you're adding a new one, maybe not as much.
Right.
But double the overhead idea possibly.
Right.
More equipment. You definitely need
Right.
more equipment.
Yeah. I mean, after everything I've been through, smaller is definitely better for me. But
Yeah. I would just think less people to interact with would probably be way more manageable
yeah,
with
it's
just
true.
random things coming up.
It's also weird, like once if you do have a small space too, it is kind of weird because you're like, after like a year, you're like charging your friends. You're basically like, I don't
But
know about
it
it.
all becomes yours, right? It's kind of the whole group's sort of.
Yeah, but I mean, like, no, I mean, like after a year or whatever, if you own the whole situation, and like this is what happened to me, right? After a year, I had had a great friendship with Marisa, so I'd go over to her house for dinner all the time. I'd house sit for her all the time. Uh, and I still charged her $100 every month. And then Ellen charged her $100 every month. She came in every single day. I would house sit for her. We would go out to dinner all the time. Like you become like really good friends with these people, and you're still charging them money. And you're like, at some point, you're like, I just feel so bad about charging you guys this money, and I feel like I'm not doing anything, but I am providing stuff for you. But it's just
Right.
like this like internal like situation. Like,
But they also have a trust for you too, so they
yeah,
trust that they can ask you to house sit for them.
yeah,
You're like a
true.
lifeline for them, even though they're paying you $100 for a bunch of other stuff. They also can
Right.
trust you to house sit.
Right.
You're providing more than $100 of value for them, as well as an
I
enjoyable space to work in
Yeah.
that's reliable,
I would.
which some would probably pay double that.
Yeah.
You know, if you increase the amount, they would probably be happy to pay
Man,
$125 versus 100, you know?
if I just applied myself. Isaac told me that when I showed him all the earrings that I made like last February, like, but I made the earrings way, way before that. He was like, Becca, if you just applied yourself, you'd be so good. And I was like, I know.
But would
I
you be
don't
happy though?
know. I'm on a
And,
applicable
and would
lifeline.
your body be happy?
No. I was thinking about it and I was like, last night while I was driving home, I was like, why am I even fucking doing pottery? I should just fucking like be a data entry. Like,
Driving from the show?
yes. I was like bitching so hard. I was like, I don't even know why I'm fucking doing this. Like, I don't even have to do pottery. Like, I'm gonna live in a van. I could do like data entry and I'd be fine. And uh, that's probably gonna be my life anyway. The economy's gonna fucking crash and we're all just gonna be like, okay.
Oh. I feel bad that I told you about that show now. I feel bad that I'm telling you about these shows and getting you into these shows, and then you're like not selling as well.
Where would I go? What other show would I be at? Nothing. Are you kidding me? I'm
Well, I
so
mostly feel
grateful
bad
you
about the
told me.
drive that you have to drive 4 hours worth to do a show that you're really,
Ah,
it's just a shot in the dark.
it's okay. It's okay. I chose it. I would have chosen something different if I
At
felt
least
like I
next
needed to.
week you will be in a warm hut.
I know, I am excited about
You
that.
should be looking forward to that.
I think that next week is actually going to be pretty good. Um I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. And next week on the 3rd, didn't plan this uh, well, but I have my update as well for my fancy cups. So
Your update.
my update, my festive update,
And it's just the cups.
just
You
the
already
cup.
have the earrings that are made to order right now, or no?
Yeah, but nobody's ordering them. Maybe they will once they see that they're made to order
Yeah.
on the website.
I think once you go mobile, you maybe you'll have to do some Etsy stuff.
I am gonna do Etsy stuff once I go
I
mobile.
think you need some uh people that don't know you.
I agree. I was wanting to do it earlier. I just never got around to it. And I want to do those fidget stones on Etsy. I think they'll do really well. And also on Fair, I think they do really well.
Hmm.
I want to do posts like studs on Fair as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Did you say you got an order from Fair?
I got 2 for
For what forms?
spoon rests. I took all the other forms off actually.
How many spoon rests did you have in that order?
One of them I had 16 and one I have 12. So,
That's a good number. That's totally
yeah,
manageable.
yeah. I just did yeah. I think you should get on Fair. I think that spoon rest would go really well for you on Fair. If
No.
you just put spoon rest up there, that's it. You know?
Would you
Uh,
do it ready to ship though? Like what would you how would
no,
I do?
you put like a date out.
Yeah.
Like I have 30 days.
Are
You know?
they because mine have different textures and whatnot. I mean, I think that would be okay.
You could do okay, this is what I would do
I
because
don't want to do different like individual textures, buy them different textures, different colors. I would just hopefully it would be fine that they would be flexible that they're different.
well, you just listen.
Go ahead.
Okay. You would do like a white one, your most popular in just a regular spiral, and then you would do an artist choice pack of 4. And then it could be whatever, you know?
Pack of four. Like four different colors.
Yeah, or just like artist choice and they order 15 or 4 of them or 10 of them or whatever and then you send whatever, you know?
Hmm.
And then you just show your selection and show that they go well together and all that stuff.
Hmm.
That's what I'm going to do for the texture stones, the fidget stones. I'm just going to do an artist choice where you don't get to choose the colors.
Yeah.
Like like it would
I'd name mine on Etsy. I call those surprise me.
surprise me. Yeah. Like so yeah, it's like it surprised me because like especially with those, like they're gonna go on a counter in a bowl. Like
The only person that's going to see them in relation to each other is the person when they get 15 of them. When the
right.
shop gets 15 of them, they're going to be like, this doesn't look just like this. So it depends on the personality. Ideally, they would not give a shit. And they'd be
Yeah.
like, they're unique.
Yeah, and like, you know, you make sure you put like red, yellow, green, blue, purple. Like boom. And
Hmm.
black. Like
Yeah,
it goes in your pocket, nobody sees it. Like it's fine.
right.
So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna do the fidget stones on Etsy too, and I think they'll do really well. Um
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's going to be slow moving, but
Yeah.
I think once you get a lot of people buying it, that really snowballs.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's easy because I'm doing the sale, so it's 20% off. Like I
Yeah.
never do a 20% off, so the shot glasses are flying, which is fine.
Right.
I mean, I'm only making 720 before
Yeah.
fees and stuff, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I'm really like thinking about, I really think that once I've been like going back and forth from when I get off, when I move into the van, whether it's going to be, um, whether it's going to be only fancy cups and earrings or only fancy cups, earrings, and regular thumb cups, you know? Like,
what you're able to ship,
or just what I'm able to make, you know?
yeah.
Because it, I mean, I don't know how long I don't know when I'll be in Indiana. Like, when I'm in Indiana, making regular thumb cups is fine, but I'll have all of the glazes for doing the fancy cups with
Hmm.
me because they're all underglazes and stroking coats, and that's easy to
What would you and
transport
how many fancy cups can you fit in that small kiln?
for.
Four. Okay.
But if I'm at
Even
places
bisque.
that have kilns,
Right.
like if I'm at your house or if I'm at, even in Colorado, I can find places like I could,
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
ideally, you just be able to crank out work and be able to biscuit somewhere.
somewhere.
So
Exactly.
whether you're making it on the road and then
Right.
you show up somewhere and you do a rent a kiln or whatever,
Exactly.
you fire it for a bisque and then you carry around bisqueware.
And
Ideally, you're
then
not going to
just,
pile it up, but
and then just fire it in the baby kiln when you know, four at a
yeah. I'm
time.
wondering your glazing. I mean, your fancy cup's not a big deal because you got one or two liners, but
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
your
the thumb
glazing of
cups,
your thumb cups is going to be
right.
tougher.
Like that'll only be able to happen in Indiana. So, or unless I'm like using somebody else's glazes. So I'm thinking that it's got to be just
What
fancy
if you
cups.
did use somebody else's glazes?
I guess it could.
What if you made it like I don't know if you go the test route. You probably wouldn't go the test route. Your
This
personality
is
is
a
not the test.
Tennessee special. Like,
Yeah, this is the thumb cup times, you know, with Isaac's
yeah.
shoe, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Like I figure I'll have my white glaze and I'll put it into a 3-gallon bucket with a lid. And then I can line my stuff with it, maybe white and black. And Lloyd's
Yeah.
in the laundry basket again. And Babs is trying to get him.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to carry around more than two different glazes because
Right. It
I
just
mean, plus you're
doesn't
going to
make
have all
any
of your
sense.
underglazes too.
Right. I could line them with stroking coats though. I could do a gallon of stroking coats, but it seems like a waste of money. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I would think you'd want to pile up the bisqueware, but also you only have so much space to put bisqueware. So,
Right. I know
and then what
it's
do
a
you do? Do
very
you stock up bisqueware and then you just store it in Indiana? Whenever you get back to Indiana, you just drop all the bisqueware off
right.
and
I
then you
don't
just
know.
have it sitting.
Yeah, I
Spoon
don't know.
rests. I don't know if you do spoon rest, but
See, I'm thinking like I'm gonna have to drop spoon rest.
because then you're gonna have to close the fair. You're gonna have to limit what's on Etsy.
Well, I'll put other stuff on fair, so I'll put like sorry.
Earrings and fidget stones.
Sorry. My cats are in the closet. Well, they're gone now. Earrings and fidget stones and like change the stuff. But yeah, it's very like strategically. It's an interesting.
Well, the cool thing about the kiln is you're gonna fire it off the battery power source, right? So it's basically no cost.
We'll see. I have to see how much the kiln runs. So,
Oh, that's a good point. You don't even know if it would run on that.
right. So I don't even know what I got because I got the
The mystery.
So,
Hopefully you got the one that's stronger.
here's a fun van update for everybody who's been kind of following along even though I haven't said anything. Um Nothing's happened on the van except for I put a curtain up. Like I'm not planning on doing anything into the van until probably February. Um But in order to live in it, I need some sort of a power source. So I got a portable power station. And I've been looking at, since it was Black Friday, it was perfect timing. So I've been looking at a lot of different power stations. And the one that I wanted to get was at like $1,200 or $1,100 with a solar panel. And then I found this one website and it had mystery power, like mystery boxes essentially. And out of a whim, and a lot of planning, I guess.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
hard to
know.
figure out because we were trying to figure out exactly what options you would have if
Yeah,
you got a
because it looks
mystery.
like in the description, it looked like it was telling you exactly what they were going to give you. Um, and I even looked up like a YouTube video. So I got a mystery box of this power source because it's like twice the amount. Regardless, it's twice the amount than what I was gonna
Twice
get
the amount of like power
power
source.
than what I was gonna get for the same amount of money. It was $999. And then I went on Amazon and bought a portable solar panel for $150. So, um, and then
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this, but I also got a refrigerator on Black Friday.
I saw you posted a story about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was
I
pretty much what you were looking for from what you were telling me about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, like I felt like the necessities was to get a power station, a portable solar panel, and a refrigerator,
Hmm.
because I'm gonna need those. I'm gonna need those regardless. I'm gonna use the refrigerator regardless, when I do the van build. So getting it now versus
Hmm.
later doesn't matter. And it has a freezer and refrigerator capability. So, um,
That's
I
great.
got one essentially half off. It was like $350 as opposed to $700. So,
Right.
um, yeah, which those refrigerators, they have like one called Dometic. It's $1,500 for that fridge because it's a 12-volt fridge, so it's like low voltage. Um,
Well, I mean, it's crazy because that's as much as you could pay. That's more than a regular fridge, like a full-size fridge. But
right,
they have to compact all of that
but
energy
it's the
and
same size as a
technology.
cooler.
Yeah.
Right.
It's because all the technology is so compact that.
Yeah, so I was like, I have this problem with the fact that I go back and forth with my friend Brandon, and we're like, well, this one has good reviews, and this one has bad reviews on the company, and this one has the reviews. And I'm like a huge researcher, and I've decided that I need to stop. It is like an addiction that needs to stop. Like, I'm just gonna fucking buy the ones that look okay. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. but but
Mhm.
I need to stop looking at reviews because it's like going through Netflix trying to figure out what to watch. It will take 10
Right.
years for you to
And
figure
then
out.
how much of those reviews are you looking at that, like how authentic are a lot of them? Because
Right. You don't even
are
know.
how many of these are
Yeah. I think the
like
most important
spam
thing is,
or
does it have 4 out of 5 5 stars? Good enough for me. Like
yeah. But some of those
so
that get to the top of Amazon's list is because they know that the number of reviews has a big factor, and
yeah.
they could be incentivizing people to give high reviews
Yeah.
and leave a rating, and
Yeah.
there's a reason that it's higher, and
And
you
it's
don't
like
know why.
these people are like, the customer service was terrible. Well, how many times do you really talk to customer service? Like, it's a very rare chance that you usually talk to customer service if it's a even a good rated item.
Right.
So, um, yeah,
And could that person have just been the lady sitting next to you at the bar?
exactly. I have digestive issues. Like, yeah. So, but I'm excited. So, 3 things off of my list of things to buy. They came at perfect timing. Spent probably $1,500 on Black Friday, which was not ideal, but that's okay. Um,
That's where you're making good sales the last month or so.
yeah. I've changed my goal to 5,000.
From 10,000 to
Yeah.
5,000?
Yes, with the last 2 shows, I don't think I can get to 10,000, which I'm okay with. 5,000 seems respectable.
Hmm. I was wondering if there's other ways that Becca can get some money. Mystery boxes?
I could do some mystery boxes.
Could you get
Mm,
1,000 or 2,000 on mystery boxes?
no. I need to collect all this week. I'm going to clear off my kitchen table and start putting all of the pots that I don't want onto that kitchen table. And start giving them away. $10 shipping. You get either, I don't know if I'm going to do mystery or if
You're
you
back on the
first one.
mystery thing, huh?
I know. I think that I'll probably do the first person that says $10 shipping, and then you can donate however much you want to the van fund. That'll be the shtick.
The shtick.
The shtick.
Yeah, I don't know that gift certificates this time of year would be.
Dude, I'm never doing gift certificates ever again in my entire life.
I don't know that would be your vibe. You're like, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing next.
No, I'm not doing gift cards ever again in my whole life. No. Fuck gift cards.
Pre-order update?
Pre-order update? I doubt it. I don't think so. I don't know. I have like
on the road update?
On the road. I just know that these earrings will pop off when they pop off. Like, I know that it's such a good product.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and everybody is like, I've never seen anything like this. I'm like, that's because nobody's making things like this right now.
Yeah. I think you just need some bread and butter things to coast while the earrings gain momentum.
Yeah. Yeah, and I need
Maybe
to do
the
better
constellations are that. Maybe the fancy cups are that.
Yeah.
Fancy
I'd love to
make
the fancy cups,
like, yeah.
I mean,
the clientele for that is narrower, but if you have the demand for it, then
yeah.
I mean, shit, my mom's got like 4 of those fucking things. I got over there and I was like, what? You got like 4 of these cups? 5 of these cups?
Well, I can't tell her no. You know? I'm like, Deidre, you have too many. Like, you don't need these. Deidre, I love you.
You need to gift. Rachel wants to get one. I don't know what kind she wants to get, though. We got that one that you gave me at the show, the coffee show, and Rachel saw it and she was like, what is that? Did you get? I was like, oh, Becca gave that to me.
It matches your chair. Your blue chair.
It's yellow and pink, though.
I thought it was yellow and blue.
You gave me the yellow and pink one.
Oh.
It's on our tiki shelf over there.
Okay.
But she wants to get one of the fancy ones with the gradient and stuff. So we'll have to figure out which one. Looks good.
Yeah.
What a short episode this was today.
2 hours in. Yeah, we had a bitch session at the front and at the back. Like, you can tell when we haven't talked for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw each other like 3 days ago.
Yeah, but we didn't talk.
Yeah. I was like, should we record with Deech or something? Like, do we have to get an episode recorded?
Done that.
And then I was like, that would be weird because then you're already like together for a while and then you're like, okay, let's go upstairs and record.
I think it would have been funner if we had natural. Yeah, it would have been funner if we just like set up the computer and just played cards or something and just talked, you know?
That could have worked.
Yeah.
Maybe.
With your mom's stories, it would have been great.
Classic.
Yeah.
Someday. All right. Anything else? We're a little over 2 hours here.
No. 12 p.m. on the nose.
12 a.m. on the
12
nose.
12 a.m. That's what I meant.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Oh, I do have something really quick. If you guys notice anything in the microphone, like it drops off or anything like that, please let us know, because I did drop this microphone on the floor. And so we're trying to figure out if it does have any issues.
I think it goes in and out, but we don't know if it's the microphone or if it's because Becca is moving her head or anything
moving
like
my
that.
Head. Yeah.
We've tried to narrow in that, hey, Becca, make sure you're not covering your mouth or talking to the wall.
But Ryan does listen to him, but you know, sometimes he doesn't hear it, and I don't. So I listen to the beginning and the end. But yeah, just let us know. We do know that it happened like a couple episodes ago, but we don't know if I had moved my head or not. So Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
sweet.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Stopped.